This program is brought to you by the Government Communication and Information System.
Inkohlakalo isiphuca izinto eziningi emphakathini. Namhlanje ku-Citizens Connect sidibana nabantu who are actively fighting against corruption. Siphinde sizibuze futhi ukuthi yini into esingayenza to join in the fight, but also singasebenza kanjani with other law enforcement agencies to report the rot that we're seeing in our communities. Take a look.
I'm Arnold Mlaudzi, the former chairperson of Feaboom Civic Organization. Around 2011, Raudara established Feaboom Youth Development, or Dilana mainly na issues za youth empowerment. Since community issue deep rural vendor, ene aba remote, ene auna opportunities. Through that organization, the channel funds and donation
I heard about the 15 million from radio, and I was like, huh? At first, when the interviewer was talking, the broadcaster, I was like, huh? What's happening? Like, I was so lost that I didn't even know that we have 15 million we've been funded by the lottery.
My name is Kaiser Nangovera, the Limpopo Mira journalist. I went to the National Lottery Commission's website. Then I saw some of the projects around the Limpopo, and the Feaboom was one of the nearest village. When I went there and interviewed some of the community members, they didn't know about the project at Feaboom. Then that when I'm starting investigating about that project.
As journalist, there is this issue ya lottery. Ere go sumbedza soro yo pa Feaboom Youth Development Charity. You're 15.1 million.
It's very much discouraged. While such charity in a kotio daka youth overdevelop. Process ori auna mishumo vana vashiva kosoko complete grade 12 auna mishumo mare musi hu tshi khou pfi huna a certain amount ya tshelede ine ya vhori yo ḓa nga NPO yo fomiwa nga tshetsho tshifhinga nda soko pfa uri thongo farea zwavhuḓi.
I interviewed some of the community members, even the community different structures at Feaboom. They knew nothing about that project. And then when I come back, there's other guy by the name of Takani Mudau. And Takani Mudau is in charge of that project. When we were checking to the documents, we were sent to lottery for application. I called him, he said he'll come back to me. Before we publish the story, there's another guy by the name of Chidumo. I think it's a young man who's in charge of the Facebook page of the project. Is the one who created the Facebook of the project. When I called him, is the one who said no, he knew nothing about, he knew about the project. When I called him again, so I don't know about that project. I said, you're the one who created the Facebook page. He said, no, I'll come back to you. Since then, before we published the story, then I received a call. I received a call from Anonymous, and then he threatened me, said, no, if you are still going on with that story, we're going to kill you.
My name is Chidumo Fumrani Nicholas. I'm a community member. Neither I'm not part of any activity around the community. 15.1 million, you're a guy. Ziamba zwa da voitela lingwe lihoro zwino usikela vone vane vo Ramaphosa na zwimiswa zwa tshipholisa na dzi hawks in SIU va tshi disa ngori phone he yo foinela ho ya transfer he computer he ya ita zwa bela khaga zwa sa da hezwo zwiamba zwo ri dzulisa zwezwi na zwi. The coincidence is just that My name was also painted as along with the board members of that NPO. And that's where things started boiling, as I wanted more answers from those who are running the NPO, those who registered the NPO, as why I'm getting the stories from the journalist that Fairbomb has been awarded 15.1 million. And I didn't get a straight answer.
No, it can't please this award because that money was supposed to help our community and the youth around it. So it makes me feel angry, if I may put it that way.
I think the guy who was the one who applied the funds, and the official inside there, they are sharing their money. Yeah, the electoral commission is officials. It's not institution. The officials, some of the officials there, they are corrupt.
It made me feel sad because we, as this youth from this community, we need jobs, we need to have projects, we need to help youth from around our villages, because there are so many youth around here who are unemployed, and some they even went to college but still unemployed. So it was very sad for me as that they used us as youth of this community to steal that money.
Ndicho zvipfai zvikotosumbedza uri lishango lashu South Africa as a whole lina corruption ngori arali lottery nayo nine zvameka sense kari nezvori thamsi yava vane vavone avango GH tshelede ngori rado ri kuvona the development vutshiloni havo. Thamsi muthu a ḓo vona renga goloi ono fhaṱa nnḓu ni ita mini, it's a lot of money, but a zwi ngo vha hone hezwo zwithu khavho vhathu. But hafhanoni ri zwi khou tou sumba uri nga nḓivho yanga nga nṋe muṋe nga kupfhesesele kwanga uri hei tshelede ya 15 million a i ngo swika fhano Fairbomb. Sumbo i nga ḓivha yo ḽiwa haningei nga bodo ya lottery ngori arali vho ri fha tshelede iḽi vha ḓo vha ḓa fhano vha tshi khou ḓo sedza uri tshelede yavho ri khou i shumisisa hani na mini, and a zwithu vhuya zwa itea. A thu vhuya ra vha na delegate yo ḓaho i khou pfhi khou bva lottery i khou ḓo sedza uri ri khou itisani dzi project na mini na zwoṱhe.
A lot of money can't just disappear. People have to be held accountable. We discover how after the break. Stay with us. #Citizens Connect yiyo-ke i-hashtag ongayisebenzisa ku-social media mhlampe if unombuzo or khona into ofuna ukusitshela yona about i-topic yanamhlanje. Sanamukela, siyabonga ukuthi usesenathi khona la ku-SABC2. Namhlanje sikhuluma nge-corruption nokuthi is-affecta kanjani ema-communities wethu. Angihlelanga ngingedwa. With me in studio is the Special Investigations Unit's Kaiser who's the head of stakeholder relations as well as communications, but also with us is Advocate Tsapang Sekgage, naye ke uzofaka umbono wakhe about corruption not only in smaller communities but in our country overall. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Ntate nne ke batla gore re qale ka SIU by defining gore mosebetsi wa teng ke eng, mosebetsi wa bona ke eng.
SIU e emetse the Special Investigating Unit. Ke mo e leng gore ke unit e leng gore e wela ka fatshe ga president, mo e leng gore e lebeletse corruption e diragang mo dikgaong tša mmušo, institutions tša government, e ka ba local government, provincial government, national government, state-owned institutions tse tshwanang le bo Eskom, tse tshwanang le bo Transnet, tse tshwanang le bo SABC.
I think what is wrong with us as a people is that we are a breeding ground for corruption. We fuel it. We find people who come and flaunt money that has not been earned correctly, and we clap for them, and they enjoy it, so they want to do more. I think that is very wrong of us to do. So corruption is horrible. I think it goes without saying. And being honest, we've seen our peers progressing in life quicker and faster than the normal person would. And I think one thing, we find these people ba eleng gore ba tla go our communities and they are driving expensive cars and you don't understand how, but you know that they're in business. You know that they're in what we call tenders, right?
The people of South Africa understand the impact of corruption in their lives, because that is what is very important, because until people understand that, we are not going to achieve what we want to achieve. And they can only help us when they know that they will benefit at the end as the members of the public.
The problem is that the young person at home, looking at all these people who are supposedly doing well, is actually envying the very same people who are keeping them in the position they are. Reason why the roads are dilapidated. Reason why there is no service delivery. These are the very same people who are responsible, but they come back and flaunt it in our faces.
We've got the issue around asbestosis, which is the illness caused by asbestos. We have signed a treaty as South Africa to remove all the asbestos roofs. But we don't, instead of doing it, we steal the money for it. But then it becomes a chain. When those people now get into our health system because they are sick, you find that they've given tenders to people to buy medication and they've not bought the medication, but the money is gone. Therefore, the people get into hospitals and then they will say, yeah, you see, government hospitals don't work. It is because corruption has played a part. And then you can see this becomes a chain, and then it goes into the moral fiber also. These people, when they get all this money, they go to our children and they put this money as carrots to these children. Our children then start thinking that there's no need to go to school. They can just take a shortcut.
Which is what he was talking about. Yes. Your take on how corruption affects normal South Africans, the average man on the street?
You know, if I can be honest, the prognosis for greed has not been found to date, right? But also, a national problem that we see right now did not start as a national problem. It started with a child who didn't listen at home when being reprimanded by the parents. When parents put measures in place for a child to account and they don't listen to that, and the problem grows. So what we are seeing today is something that has grown over time. And the problem is that we don't cut it straight from the beginning. I think the conversation that we had is a very important conversation. I think it is a conversation that is not had with much depth at all. I think it is had at a high level, but I think we don't bring it closer to home. But even if we do bring it closer to home, I don't think we introspect enough. There are certain things that happen that people don't think is corruption, but it really is.
What he's saying is very important.
Kuzobanzima because most of the people okhuluma ngabo are in townships, defeated by, some might say, the very government we're talking about. And so it's fine if umntana afika azamile ngendlela yokuzama. Would it be easy for umzali onjalo to go to the police and report their child?
Easy it might not be, but it has to be done. In other communities, if you travel the world, you will see. It starts with small things. There are communities where you go to, if you throw a butt of cigarette on the floor, an ordinary citizen will stop you and say, there is the dustbin.
Yes.
Therefore, it means it's possible. It's just a matter of saying, we cannot continue to blame apartheid forever. We are the ones who are feeling the pain now, and we know the reasons. It's because people are corrupt. And the worst part of the story is they don't just get corrupt in the corner. They come into the public space, they go and flaunt cars, flaunt traveling all over the world with girlfriends and all of that in front of our faces. And we see that.
What's your take then to somebody who says the SIU just comes in too late? When the rot has happened, it investigates too late. And so whatever interventions, recommendations that could come out of ama report lawan president, the rot is already done. Whereas maybe more attention should be given to preventing such crimes.
No, definitely. Investigations by its nature happens
would
after.
Be in hindsight, yes.
Will happen after. But we are also starting a process as the SIU of gathering intelligence, where we use technology to then preempt how each and every government institution can prevent these things from happening prior from them happening, because we don't enjoy having to come when things are done. But at the end of it all, it is important to come when things are done also, because we need to investigate and say, these are the people who were found to have done wrong, this is what is done to them. Because consequence management also contribute to people not doing what they're supposed to do.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Asishiyekela I conversation yethu. We have been in conversation with Busisiwe, who comes from the Special Investigations Unit. Yenage, we head of the Stakeholder Relations and Communications Wing, but also speaking to Advocate Tsapang Sekgage. Thank you so much for your time. We're still talking about corruption after the break. You're watching Citizens Connect. Welcome back to Citizens Connect, Konalagu SABC2. Thank you so much for staying with us. Sisaqhubeka ngengxoxo yethu about explaining ukuthi kahle kahle i-Special Investigations Unit yini kahle kahle i-role yayo in our country. So we thought we should bring umuntu ophezulu, umphathi waleyo unit leyo, who is Advocate Andy Mutubi, who is the head of the SIU. Thank you so much, Baba, for isikhathi sakho.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
We have had representatives from your organization just talking about the different facets of the work that you do. But I want us to just talk about the mandate of the SIU. As a person who has a bird's eye view of everything, what would you say is the mandate of the SIU?
Okay. Now, thank you again for the opportunity. We are really pleased. So the Special Investigating Unit is mandated by legislation called the Special Investigating Units and Special Tribunals Act 74 of 1996. So in terms of that legislation, the SIU has got a wide mandate. At the heart of it is really to protect the public interest, the interest of the public, so that they are not harmed in any way. And where they have been harmed, we must ensure that we put measures in place to correct. So how do we do that? The legislation says we've got the powers to investigate corruption, powers to investigate maladministration, and powers to investigate malpractices. So, as you can hear, with the exception of corruption, which is pretty much clear, and it's a criminal offense, maladministration is very wide.
I think we are doing enough. I think the government is doing a lot, and not just enough. We have laws that have been put in place, promulgated to curb corruption, and I think the area that we can improve on is law enforcement. When I say law enforcement, I mean the people that need to enforce. For instance, if I go to a police station and I report corruption, it needs to be taken seriously.
If I take the example of the water affairs and sanitation space, right? We've investigated allegations relating to the contract that should have ultimately resulted in water flowing to the community of Giyani, right? Now, the water as we see today is still problematic in terms of the flow to that community. Now, what that contract should have done was to get a service provider appointed to work on the pipeline so that the water flows to the community. This is really in brief. But now what happened is that the contractor who was appointed irregularly. No procurement process was followed. And not only that, was appointed and the work was not done appropriately, right? So and this is a typical example which really shows that if that work was done properly, we would have had water flowing to the community and of course benefiting the community.
To those that are participating, the best thing that they need to do for themselves is they must stop doing it, because if they continue to do it, we are going to find them. And it's not a promise, but it's a fact. We will come after them, we'll follow the money and make sure that the money goes back where it's supposed to be, which is back to the institutions that are supposed to be giving us services.
Of importance is that the public should trust that when they report, the matters will be acted upon and they will see results, right? And as I said, there's various examples of investigations we can refer to. Another important part is that after reporting, they should really be protected, right, as whistleblowers. As SIU, we've put in place measures to protect both investigators and whistleblowers, because the risk is on both sides. So once whistleblowers report to us that they are under threat, there's a risk, we then put them through a program that SIU has. In some instances, we collaborate with the National Prosecuting Authority, because they are in charge of what's called witness protection program. Okay, but the difference is you can be a whistleblower and not be a witness, right? So we wanted to bridge that gap, that even as a whistleblower, you need to be protected before, if need be, you then progress to becoming a witness, because the witness protection program only really protects those who have now been identified as witnesses, right? But as you may know, and the public would probably know this, that as a result of inputs from the public, the Department of Justice, led by Minister Lamola, is championing the revision, the amendment of the legislation relating to whistleblower protection, witness protection, taking into account that we need to have broader protection to whistleblowers and witnesses.
Sure. No, let's leave it there. Otherwise, mina nawe singakhuluma until midnight. And that's
Right.
how important these issues are. Of course, we have been reflecting on the important mandate and the role and the work of the SIU with different representatives from the unit. But of course, just now, speaking to Advocate Andy Mutibi about his role as well in the organization. But let's not forget indima yakho wena ongayidlala in your own community. Akhona ma channels that you can follow to basically highlight inkinga ye corruption in your community. Mawubona ukuthi this development was supposed to happen kodwa ayenzakali, and you know the key people who are responsible for that, people who are robbing our communities of all of this change that is supposed to happen. Do reach out, because there are channels just like the SIU that are there for you to report. Mina ngishiya khona lapha. Thank you so much for joining us. This was Citizens Connect. See you next week.